Road Rage by Team 6 Game Studios is a title that attempts to revive the old motorcycle combat style of game that has been missing in action since the last Road Rash was released in 2009. By infusing elements of the industry giant Grand Theft Auto franchise, are we bearing witness to the game that will successfully revitalize an entire genre? After playing it, I can definitely say without hesitation that it is a game. There are two crucial elements that are absolutely necessary when creating a game such as this: solid controls and fantastic collision detection. Sadly, these are two things that cannot be crossed off the checklist. Initial impressions had me thinking that the game actually did handle pretty well, but that faded faster than I could have imagined, as the first time I hit top speed, I realized how much of a struggle this was going to be. Sure, I could try to ease into cornering and drift when necessary, but the game seemed to flip a coin in regards to when it would actually acknowledge these requested inputs. Admittedly, after a little bit of time I was able to adjust ever so slightly, but I still always felt like I was far from in full control. Another reason that I always felt unsure of how I would perform was rooted in the terribly inconsistent collision detection. One moment I would be tearing down a long stretch of road while depleting my nitrous reserve and bump into a random car, only to be sent flying in the opposite direction or even into the air like a bouncy ball off of a trampoline. And the next, I'd be moving at a snail's pace, hit a curb with my front tire, resulting in a fiery explosion. This is all assuming that I didn't just drive through the asset, as in many instances, elements of the game world would possess no interactive quality. It took 30 seconds into my playtime to drive through a warehouse, brick walls and all, only to come out the other side unscathed. As a video game, there needs to be certain parameters set in order for the gamer to know what they can or cannot do. Having objects be present as they are represented shouldn't be a guessing game. Driving is only half of the experience. Let's talk about the combat. Same problem. Hitboxes possess no determinable consistency. Sure, the game can give you a variety of weapons to unlock, such as hockey sticks or hedge clippers, but they are only different in appearance, as all of them may or may not hit their target regardless of length or distance from it. Many times when attacking pedestrians, which the game does encourage you to do, the camera would go into the slow motion effect that indicates a hit, but would still present you with an empty swing. Speaking of unlocks, there's very little motivation to get them. Since they have very little impact on the game mechanics, they're just kinda there. I do realize that some were required to unlock further missions, and yet I repeat, there was very little motivation to get them. More of this game was at no point what I wanted. At least in an attempt to increase the game's length, the developers included a collectible in each of the zones. That's right, singular, bringing the grand total of collectibles to 7. Now that's longevity. At this point, you might ask why I would say the game encouraged you to hit pedestrians. Well, that's because, and this is where the GTA elements of the open world come in, you can amass a wanted level represented by very familiar star icons, which cause the authorities to take pursuit. Don't worry, the AI in this game is also terrible, and I found myself able to outrun cops on a number of occasions due to them getting stuck driving into a wall, as if their vehicles weren't outfitted with a reverse function. All the more impressive considering how empty this open world is. Let's shift from inconsistency to lacking. I should have known when I started up the 1.8 gigabyte download for this title that there would be a lot of aspects that would be sparse. You will see pedestrians and the same few car models moving about, but there is no character to the environment. Never has an open world felt less alive and so artificially placed. The story and objectives are also handled very lazily. The beginning of the campaign is a small series of still shots with some voiceover work. After that, missions are given out in conversations through your cell phone, which is the most minimalistic of techniques in order to attempt a feeling of immersion. Never mind that many of the objectives that are handed out don't match the mission that follow. Get a call that someone is cornered in their house and there's going to be a fight? And you guessed it, solo stunt race, to try and get some hang time and to pop a wheelie for a set distance. The only positive to this inconsistency is that if the quest giver tells you that your cut is $102, the game will still give you like $5K upon completion. All of this is done with voice acting that has such poor delivery and overacting that it belongs in a primary school play where even the kids' parents are walking out.
What did you just call me? You didn't just call me that. Listen to me, creep. If you talk to me like... What? You hung up on me.
Don't expect the graphics to do you any favors either. They feel generations old. It's not uncommon for a game to have a bit of a delay in loading textures, but with Road Rage, you will hit a point where you think they are halfway there and taking a really long time, and that's actually it. There are no more. It's been a challenge to find much to praise in this title, but here it is. The music in this game is pretty good. Not licensed music, or mind-blowing in any way, but suitably atmospheric and appropriate for the feeling that this game is desperately striving for. There could not have been a more appropriate title for this game other than Road Rage, as that is the feeling you will get trying to slog through it. You might be able to get a few laughs playing the game with a buddy, but that experience would have to come at the most heavy of discounts, as even the budget release price is not justifiable for what's on offer. And that brings us to the end of this video. Until next time, live in the real world, play in a pixel one.
Hey, did you like that video? If you did, be sure to let us know by clicking the like button and leaving a comment. If you want to be first in line for any new content, be sure to subscribe to our channel and then hit up our Facebook page. The link's in the description below to see what's coming up next.